What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DJ Liftoff with the JP Way, and you don't want to miss this flight. Now, in today's video, we're going to be focused on a question that I asked the community, which was what part of scratching is the toughest right now? The option that got the most votes was using the crossfader to make clean cuts. So therefore, we're going to be focused on a few different scratch techniques and how you can continue to practice to make those cuts cleaner and cleaner. Now, at the end of this video, there are going to be two goals that I want you all to be able to reach. So let's start off with the first one. Before we go ahead and start, we're going to talk about the 3 scratch techniques that we're going to be using in this tutorial. When you're doing the chirp scratch, you know it's clean when you're not cutting off either of the sounds too short and you're just getting 2 quick chirp sounds. So when you're moving forward, you get this. And then when you come back, you get this. Okay? 2 full sounds. You know it's not clean if you're cutting it too early, which would sound like this. That's an example of cutting too early, and that's not a clean cut. So you want to make sure that you're pushing far enough into the sound and then cutting so you get that full chirp. Just like that. The next scratch we're going to go over is the stab scratch, which sounds just like this. All you essentially are doing is you're going to have your thumb on the crossfader and you're just doing a quick tap with your finger. That's all you're doing for the stab. It's a very, very quick motion. So you're pushing that platter forward. As you push it forward, you're just doing a quick click on the crossfader, and then using your thumb's pressure, you're just going to reclose that crossfader immediately. So as you can see, I'm just pulling the platter back after I complete the stab, back to the beginning. Lastly, we have the transformer scratch, which is similar to the stab scratch, but also a little bit different. So as you can see with the transformer scratch, we're starting with the crossfader close. All we're doing is giving the crossfader 2 clicks going forward. And then as you can see, it's still closed. And then we're pulling the platter back and giving it 2 clicks on the way back. You can hold your platter going forward, or you can let it go or do a drop. With each of these scratch techniques, you want to be able to do each one individually for 4 bars straight without any mess ups. So what I mean by that, if we have the chirp scratch, you want to be able to do continuous chirp scratches for 4 bars without messing up any of them, and they all sound really clean. Not only that, you also want to be able to do this at 3 different tempo ranges. So we're going to go for a BPM of 80, then we're going to go for a BPM of 100, then we're going to go for a BPM of 120. So that was 1 bar of clean scratches. Again, make sure that you're actually doing 4. Once you're able to do that at 80 BPM, then you want to move up to 100. Once you're able to do that at each BPM, 80, 100, and 120 with 4 bars of clean cuts with the chirp scratch, then you can move on to the stab scratch, do the exact same thing. Then you're going to want to move on to the transformer with the 2 going forward and 2 going back, just like such. Again, you want to do this with every single scratch, the chirp, the stab, and the transformer at each of those BPM ranges, okay? Once you're able to do that, you can say that you successfully completed the first goal. This is going to really, really help build your crossfader skills, because it's important to not only be able to do a scratch or a clean scratch just once or twice and then the other one sound a little off. It's important to be able to do it consistently so you know you really, really have those hand motions down. Now, let's talk about the second goal. The second goal is going to be putting all of these together. And essentially, we're going to do this by doing a chirp scratch. And we're also going to do a 2-click flare orbit as well. And we're going to follow the same exact regimen of starting with 80 BPM, then 100, then 120. So first, let me show you what the scratch pattern looks like with all of them put together. Now, putting these scratch techniques together may be extremely difficult if you've never done the 2-click flare orbit in the past. However, I strongly encourage you to try it because, again, it will really help your crossfader skills as far as making those clean cuts if you do practice it enough. So to just go over it a little bit slower, essentially the 2-click flare is going to sound just like this. What, or da, 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 da. So as you can see, we have those 6 sounds, 3 going forward, 3 going back. So to break that down, essentially, we're just starting with our crossfader open. We're going to push into the sound and then cut. That's going to be the first sound. Then we're going to do that stab scratch next, which is going to be just a stab like this. And then as we do that stab, we're just pushing forward on the platter still. Then we're going to open the crossfader to the middle to create that last sound. So it's a little bit hard showing it slowly. However, I'm going to do so to the best of my ability. So again, first cut, then we have a stab, then we are opening the crossfader. So going back, we're just going to close that crossfader as we pull back to make that first sound. Then we have another stab. Then we're going to pull back on the platter back to the beginning, and we're going to open the crossfader. Just like that, okay? So one more time. So you should get like a what. That's what that essentially is going to sound like, okay? So once you do that 2-click flare orbit, then you're just going to do a chirp scratch, just a normal chirp scratch. Then you're going to go right back into the 2-click flare orbit. Okay. So that's essentially how you're going to practice using the chirp, the stab, and the transformers within that 2-click flare orbit all together in order to practice these techniques. And again, make sure you can do these 4 bars starting at 80 BPM, 100 BPM, and then 120. One tip that I do have for you all, when you're doing the 2-click flare orbit, especially when you're doing it at a slow BPM, you're definitely going to need a longer sound in order to do it properly. You can try to do it with this sound. However, I recommend that you use a sound at the end of the Serato scratch sentence, such as this, because it is so much longer. So when you're going slow, you have a lot more room to actually do the full sound or the full scratch. Now, I know this sound might not be ideal for everyone, so any sound that you have that's pretty long in length, definitely feel free to use that, especially when you're practicing the 2-click flare orbit at slower BPMs, okay? So this is going to be your second goal, completing that 2-click flare orbit along with the chirp scratch at each of those BPMs, okay? Again, overall, when you're able to do all of these different techniques, whether it's the first goal or the second goal or both of them, hopefully, it's really going to increase your crossfader skills and your ability to make those clean cuts. Remember, practice. There are no shortcuts when it comes to learning how to scratch. There are no shortcuts when it comes to getting better with the crossfader. It's all going to be putting in time and just having dedication. So with that said, if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button as well as hit the subscribe button. Turn on those notifications as well so you know the next time that I upload a video. With that said, I'll catch y'all on the next live.
I need to find my drink. Chillin' all night, you know that's fine by me. But we don't have to talk, you know that's quite alright. Cause I be ducking feelings every time we link. You say it's hard to love you right, so let me focus. And even though it never lasts, enjoy the moment. I know they say the plane gon' crash, but that feels hopeless. So if I crash, I hope I crash into the ocean.